Okay. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in the last class, we are discussing about mass curve to find out the reservoir capacity. Okay. So, this is a line diagram of a reservoir where you can say the water is flowing from upstream. Okay. This is a river. And then we have constructed an obstruction. It's called dam. Okay. So, basically, in the reservoir, we have different types of zone. Okay. So, this dead zone, the amount of water present in dead zone is not usable. Okay? This zone basically when your river carries lots of sediment is to deposit here. Okay? Deposit in the dead zone. Okay? So that's why we are not going to use this amount of water which are available in dead storage. Okay? So whatever the water above this dotted line is going to divert through this undersluice for various purpose. Okay, so whatever amount of water below that dotted line are not usable. Okay, because it contains lots of silk, because our silk have a tendency to settle down. Okay, that's why this storage is called dead storage. Okay, and this is your FRL is nothing but full reservoir level. Okay, so this part is fully usable water, this zone. This part is fully usable. Okay, but beyond that FRL, if there is probability of flood in the downstream end, we can store more. The capacity is still here. Okay, maximum water level. This is the capacity of the dam. But when there is a no probability of flood at the downstream, beyond that FRL, we used to release the water through spillway. Okay, we are going to release the water through spillway. Okay, if we have seen that amount of water is coming which may occur flood at the downstream, then we are not going to release that amount of water. We are going to store the water. Okay, okay. And in normal case, we used to release that water in the downstream end through spillway. If it is more than FRL, that is full reservoir level. Okay, FRL is nothing but your full reservoir level. Okay, and your MWL is nothing but your maximum water level. Beyond this point, your dam cannot hold water beyond your maximum water level. So we always avoid to reach water level till maximum water level. Okay, that's what we always avoid. Okay, so if it is beyond that FRL, we used to spill the water through spillway. Okay, so you can draw this line diagram or schematic diagram of a reservoir showing various storage zone. You can write this is useful zone also. Okay, in some of the book you can find it's in useful storage or useful zone. So whatever the power canal we are talking about in our previous class, so this will be connected to this sluice gate, okay, which is at the level of dead storage level, okay. So whatever water beyond this dead storage, we can divert through this power canal, okay. So this power canal, okay. So you can draw this schematic diagram, okay. This is, I think you have already studied. Just for a reference, I have given you this diagram, okay. Is it over?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the last class, we are discussing about mass curve, okay. Using mass curve, how we can determine reservoir capacity, okay. So suppose we have a river which is flowing from upstream to downstream, then we have select a location which is suitable for your dam structure. So, we have constructed a dam, okay. Then we have constructed a reservoir just to store water according to the topography of the land, okay. Now, how to find out the reservoir capacity? Because in due course of time, our reservoir capacity may reduce because of the deposition of silt and other materials that carried by the river, which is deposited at the bed of the reservoir, okay. So one method is our mass curve to find out the reservoir capacity. How? We have to consider, suppose this is a river, so there are some amount of water coming from upstream to that dam location, which is called inflow, okay. Inflow, that is nothing but your discharge in meter cube per second, okay. So now, suppose in this diagram, if you have seen 1953, okay. So 1953, okay. If we consider year, then we are going to take average inflow in that particular year. Suppose in 1953, for that 1953, we have average inflow of 1000, okay. For an example, okay. It's just for an example, okay. In 1953, we have 1000 meter cube per second as an average inflow to the dam side, okay. Then we move on to the next 1954, maybe 1500, okay. These values are just an imaginary values, okay. And 1955, okay, say about 2000, okay. So these are average inflows throughout that particular year, okay. So now we have to take accumulated inflow, then only we can plot in this graph, okay. So when we consider accumulated inflow, I think we have already discussed in the last class what is accumulated inflow. So accumulated means we are going to add accumulate, okay. So 1953 we have 1000, we have 1000, okay. So 1954 we have to add like 1000 plus 1500, so 2500, okay. In 55 it will be again 2500 plus 2000, 4500, okay, and so on. So these are your accumulated inflow, okay, which you are going to substitute in y-axis, okay, and in x-axis you have time, okay. So here we have taken years. If you take month, then we have to take average inflow for that particular month. Suppose if you take in 2020, okay, last year, then it will be January, February, March, April till December. So what will be the amount of inflow coming to that particular reverse, sorry, dam side for that particular month? Suppose January, okay. So we have to see first what will be the January value, inflow value for that particular month, then February, and so on. Then you have to take accumulated again to plot in the graph, okay. As we are adding the value, if you can see, these values are always in increasing order, okay. So you can see here you have 1000, then 2500, then 4500, and so on, okay, because we are adding the value. So that's why, that is the reason why our graph is in increasing order, okay. So it's always increasing from zero, it's always increasing, okay, always increasing, okay. So when you plot the graph, you can observe that our graph first is increase and reach to a peak level, and again it tries to reduce again, okay. So it's like it will increase like that, and then again it reduce, then it's again increase, and then again reduce, okay, and so on, okay. From zero it continues like that, okay. First it will increase, then it will be little bit decreasing. Though this peak and then this dry point are not prominent, you can figure it out when you plot it in Excel. You can see in this pattern. When you plot the accumulated inflow, it increases, then decreases, increases, and again decreases. Okay, little bit. In this pattern, you can see. Okay, then these peak points are called flood point. Flood point. Okay, these peak points are flood point, and when it comes to a minimum point, those who are called dry points. These points are called dry points. Okay, okay. So you have to identify when you plot the graph, then you have to identify your flood and dry points. Okay, so then you have to identify here. Suppose this is your point, flood point, and then you have identified the dry points. Okay, then you have to draw a tangent. Tangent. Okay, you have to draw a tangent at the flood point and the dry point also, which should be parallel to each other. When you draw a tangent at the dry point and peak point, this should be parallel to each other. Okay, then we have to find out at which point, if you draw a straight line which is parallel to y-axis, at which points it intersect with the tangent line. Okay, suppose if you draw a straight line at this dry point, it intersects your this tangent, that is dotted line, at some point. So you have to find out what is the value for that particular point. Suppose 5, here 4, this is 6, suppose 5 years that point, okay. And then you have to find out the dry point. Suppose it's 4.25, okay. So your capacity will be 5 minus 4.25, that value is your reservoir capacity. Okay, so you can take any points, means any peak point and a consecutive dry point, or you can take here also. Suppose this is your peak point and this is your dry point, you use the same process, you will find more or less the same value. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to draw tangent, two tangent, at one at dry point and one at two tangent, one at dry point and one at flood point. Okay, then you have to draw a straight line which should be parallel to your y-axis. Okay, then you have to see where this line intersect with your flood point tangent. Okay, and that point you have to find out in y-axis. Okay, and from the dry point also you have to find out what is the value, and then you have to subtract. Okay, so don't worry, we will solve one numerical related to this. So any doubts regarding this mass curve for reservoir storage? Okay, then we move on. Okay, so you can draw this diagram. Okay, that graph you roughly draw. Okay, first you put in y-axis and x-axis. X-axis you put time. Here we have taken in terms of years. Okay, and here we have taken accumulated inflow. Okay, in y-axis, and then you just put one graph, that is, first it will rise some part, then again it will come little bit towards down as a dry point, and then again it will increase and decrease. Okay, so you follow that pattern. Then you have to draw two tangent, one at flood point, one at dry point. Okay, then you have to draw a straight line which should be parallel to your y-axis, and you have to see where it intersects. That value we have to mark, and then we have also identify the value of dry point. Then you have to subtract and find out the reservoir capacity. So you draw the diagram. Okay, okay, after drawing the tangent. Okay, so this is your x-axis, this is your y. Okay, So suppose you have identified this is your flat point, this is your dry point. Okay, you draw tangent. Okay, this tangent should be parallel to each other. Okay, this tangent should be parallel to each other, or else in some time we have demand line. Okay, I'll explain you what is demand line. Demand line. Okay, so if we have a demand line that can be drawn by a dotted line. Okay, if we have a demand line, then it will be easy for us to draw the tangent. That tangent should be parallel to demand line. Okay, so this is your flat point, this is your dry point. Okay, once you plot the graph, we have to identify which one is your flat point and a dry point. Then you have to draw two tangent, one at flat point and one at dry point. These two tangents should be parallel to each other. Okay, then you have to find out, sorry, you have to draw a line, straight line, which should be parallel to your y-axis, which should be parallel to your y-axis like this. Okay, from the dry point. Okay, then you have seen it will intersect at a point with the tangent. Okay, that point you have to identify what is the point here, what is the value in y-axis. Okay, suppose 10. Okay, here is 10. Okay, then the dry point also we have to identify what is the dry point here. Suppose 7, then your reservoir capacity will be 10 minus 7 is 3. Okay, just for an example. Okay, thus we have to find out the intercept between the tangent point and the dry point. Over,
Over, sir.
okay, okay. So after drawing the graph, you write characteristics of mass curve. Okay, after the graph. So those who have exam, they can attend exam. Okay, at 12 a.m. More or less, we are also going to complete our class before 12. Okay. So next topic you can write characteristics of mass curve. Okay. So you write down first point. So mass curve is a continuously rising curve as shown in the above figure. and plotted accumulated inflow against time. Okay, that means in y-axis we have accumulated inflow and in x-axis we have time. Okay, the mass curve is a continuously rising curve as shown in the above figure and plotted accumulated inflow against time. Okay, and second point is the slope of the curve at any given point indicates the rate of inflow at that particular time. Okay, the slope of the curve, if you find out the slope of the curve at any point, that slope indicates that rate of inflow, that is discharge at that particular time, because in the graph we have taken accumulated inflow, not inflow. Okay, so if you find out the slope at a particular point, in that point you can find that slope gives you rate of inflow at that particular time. Okay, that means if in the graph, if you consider any point, there will be your two axes, one is in y and one is, sorry, one is x coordinate and is one is y coordinate. So that x coordinate will be your time. For that particular time, if you find out the slope of the curve at that particular x point, so in that particular time, that slope gives you rate of inflow to the dam side for that particular time or in that particular time. Okay, that is our second point. So the third point is if the curve becomes horizontal. So we have already discussed that it is a continuously rising curve. In some reason, if it becomes horizontal, that means this is your x-axis, sorry, x-axis and y-axis. If it is rising and then if seen it's like horizontal, then again it's rising and this follows that pattern. So in that horizontal part, it indicates that the rate of inflow at that particular time is zero. Okay, if it is horizontal, then it means for that particular time we have no inflow, no inflow. Okay, that means there is no discharge for that particular time period. Okay, your third point is if the curve becomes horizontal at some point, it indicates that rate of inflow at that particular time is zero, because as we have taken accumulated, suppose in January you have 100. Okay, February there is no flow, zero. March is zero. Okay, then March, April we have 50. Suppose 50. So when you find out accumulated inflow, when you find out accumulated, so what will be your first value? Will be your 100. Second value will also be your 100, because 100 plus 0 is 100. Third value is also is 100. Then your fourth value will be your 150. Okay, so as you are getting 100, so you will get a straight line. Okay, so that means if you get a horizontal line, that means your inflow for that particular time period is zero. Understood? Okay. So next point you can write, if the curve rises sharply it indicates that high rate of inflow at that particular period of time. So if it is rises sharply, then what it indicates? It indicates as at a very high rate of inflow has occurred, or we can observe at that particular time. Okay. Suppose if your discharge is in January is 100 and February you got around 1000, so then there will be a sudden increase of, suppose January is your 100 and February you have seen there is 1000. Okay, March again got 150, suppose. Then when you find out accumulated, your first value will be 100, second value will be 1100, means 1100. Okay, then your 1250. Okay, and so on. So it increases if your curve. So if you plot this value, first value is 100 and then it will go like this. Okay, that is 1100, then again it's 1250. Okay, so if it suddenly increase the curve, that means it's a very high inflow for that particular time. Okay, understood? It's very simple. Okay, first point, it's a continuous rising curve. Okay, and we plot accumulated inflow against time. Second is if the curve at any point, the slope of the curve, if we find out the slope of that particular curve for the particular time, it gives us rate of inflow. Okay, then next point, it says if somehow the curve becomes horizontal at some point, which indicates that there is no rate of inflow for that particular point. Okay, and then next point is if the curve is rising sharply, that means it shows that high rate of inflow at that particular time. Okay, okay. So now one concept is as uniform demand line, UDL. Okay, uniform demand line. Okay, uniform demand line, uniform demand line. So this is nothing but what we have to do. We are going to find out average demand throughout the year. Okay, throughout the year. Suppose in 2020 our average inflow demand, or sorry, average demand is 85 meter cube per second. Okay, then when we are going to find out UDL, what we are going to do, we are going to take accumulated demand, that is your first for the month of January 85, next will be your 85 plus 85. Okay, next your 85 plus 85 plus 85. Okay, and so on. Okay, so as you are continuously rising with the same amount, so if you plot that UDL, it gives us a straight dotted line, straight dotted lines. Okay, straight dotted line. Okay, so that is nothing but our uniform demand line. Why it is called uniform? Because we have increasing uniformly. If the demand is 85, we are increasing each month or each year by 85 only. Okay, so uniformly we are increasing. So that's why uniform demand line, UDL. okay, as we are increasing uniformly, and that's why it gives us a straight line. So if you have that line, then you have to draw the tangent parallel to this line, okay. So that in the flood point, if you draw one tangent which should be parallel to your UDL, and if you draw a tangent at the dry point, that should be also parallel to your UDL, okay. So next point you write points A and B. So these are arbitrary points, okay. I have identified in that in my graph. So you can write anything here, A, B, C, D. It's up to you, okay. So I have identified the dry points by A and B, okay. So the points A and B are dry points of the curve, and C and D are the flood points of the reservoir, okay. So A and B I have considered dry points, C and D I have considered flood points. So you can also reverse the thing, it's up to you, okay. And the dotted line indicates that uniform demand line. So I have considered O at 0 point and E is the end point. So that's why I have written OE, okay. So you can denote by any alphabet, it's up to you, okay. I have considered here is O. Here at 0 point I have considered O, and wherever the dotted line ends I have considered E. So that's why I have written OE is the uniform demand line, okay. And I have considered dry points A and B are the dry points, and C and here D are the flood points. You can reverse also, it's up to you, okay. You can write down the next point. Points A and B are dry points of the reservoir, and C and D are the flood points of the reservoir. Then the dotted line OE indicates that uniformly demand line, okay. Okay. Then last point, the vertical intercept between the mass curve gives the reservoir capacity, okay. The vertical intercepts between the mass curve gives the reservoir capacity. Over. Over.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today you write down one numerical, okay, related to mass curve, okay, and try to solve at home, and we will discuss the solution in the next class, okay. The average inflow of a river corresponding, forget about this term, corresponding to a year, you write, corresponding to a year on record R. So this for a particular year we have observed data for each month about the inflow discharge. Okay, so this is given. Okay, what is given? Month wise, our inflow discharge is given for a particular year. Okay, it is from January to December. We have to find out the storage capacity for power generation at inflow discharge rate 85 meter cube per second. This 85 is nothing but your demand. Okay, so you have to find out UDL by using this 85. Okay, so you write down this question, and here another thing is that for 1 month we can assume 30.4 days. Okay, because this is for an average. In 1 month we have 30 days also. In for some month we have 31 days. So basically we used to take 30.4 days for 1 month. Okay, so you try to solve this numerical at home. Okay, and we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, and if you can solve, I think it's very easy, you can solve. Okay, you just take 5 minutes to discuss this numerical. Just you write down roughly. Okay, for each month you write down the inflow values, then you write 1 month is equal to 30.4 days, and you also write down the demand, that is 85 meter cube per second. Over.
Sir, can we go for exam, sir?
Yes, this
Thank
meeting
you,
is
sir.
also going to end very soon. I think hardly 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, so if you have
Okay, sir.
written that question, you can leave. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So we will discuss this numerical in the next class. Okay. Thank you all.